That's right. And we were wondering for months, Richard, if this meeting here in South Korea, October 31st and November 1st, the APEC summit, would be the crescendo of trade talks between the United States and China. And it seems as though that very may well be the case. We can tell you that this meeting, Donald Trump coming to South Korea to potentially meet with Xi Jinping, has been in the preparation stages for at least, and I stress, at least since May. And U.S. officials here in the region have been saying for all of those months, well, we're preparing for the president to come here and meet with the Chinese leader, but there's always the chance that something can happen, that some other trade salvo could come across the bow and derail these talks derail this meeting. And now it seems as though he's going to come over to this side of the world and have this very high stakes meeting. It is interesting to note, it's always interesting to wake up early on a Saturday morning and see what DC says and see what Beijing says about a high stakes phone call like this when we're talking about not only the parameters of a trade deal, but also TikTok, which is highly relevant, of course, to millions of people around the world. So we have the president there in that clip expressing optimism that an approval is going to be made, selling a big chunk, essentially the essence of this company, to U.S. control. But that's not the language that Beijing used. In fact, Richard, they don't use the word approval at all in Beijing's statement. Just printed it out right here. In a couple words, they say, the readout of the phone call between Xi, according to Beijing, that they're looking forward to TikTok and a sale of it, staying in keeping with market rules and complying with China's laws, taking into account the interests of both sides, and especially providing a fair and non-discriminatory environment for Chinese investors. So that seems to be conveying, all right, we know where we're taking this car, but it's not done yet. The route to get there still seems to be in question, Richard.
But the nuance of the Beijing decision is, they are, as you say, they're moving in the same direction towards each other, which does lead to assume that there will be a satisfactory deal. I'm wondering, though, in Seoul, when the president gets there, how are they going to get over the nastiness over the ICE raid on the South Korean workers that were essentially bundled out? Is there bad blood that still needs to be soothed and solved?
Yes. The short answer to the question is yes. It was horrifying for people watching South Koreans, their fellow countrymen, in handcuffs, hearkening back to Japanese colonial occupation all the way into the 30s and 40s. It was met with horror and astonishment. So you could see from the Seoul side that the government here tried to resolve this crisis as quickly as possible. It took about a week. Everybody from South Korea, minus one person, is back home right now. But you're right. This meeting is going to be a chance for a major reset. You could see President Trump posting on Truth a couple days ago that he wants foreign investment, that laws need to be followed. But from the South Korean perspective, there still needs to be an acknowledgement that invest and arrest cannot occupy the same bucket of business conversation. So that is going to be a major thing that the president needs to check off his list when he comes to this side of the world, October 31st and November 1st, Richard.
I shall shamelessly plagiarize your line, invest and arrest, and I shall plagiarize it, and there will be no attribution to you, Mike Valerio, but it is early morning. Have a good Saturday. Thank you, sir.